we get in control of our agenda, then we can script that family time, right? We can actually, if we get back in control and script our life, people think scripting, there's no spontaneous activities, but yes, you can schedule every evening, from 8 p.m. There's no reason to take business calls after 8 p.m. because you're not going to make great decisions anyway. So like you said, shut the things down, have a power routine, and do family stuff. And the same in the weekends. There's many times if you're organized, there is no reason to cancel a trip with your kids just because somebody calls. Again, is you need to get back in control and eliminate a lot of meetings that are not necessary.
What if you could reclaim hours of free time each week, create legacy building wealth, and devote more energy to your passion projects without giving up on your career as a life-saving MD? Dr. Vikram Raya is a functional cardiologist, high-performance coach, and real estate expert, is here to give you the tools, strategies, and solutions you need to transform your life, unlock your limitless potential, and achieve greatness, all while freeing up your precious time. Welcome to Limitless MD. Let's dive in.
I want to get right into it. I want to add tremendous value to my listeners who are physicians, successful entrepreneurs, high income earners who want to go to the next level. This podcast was built on 3 themes. It's built on freedom, wealth, and human optimization. And the thing that caught my eye is you have this concept called supercharge your productivity with a 2-minute ritual to crush your to-do list in half the time, 6-hour focus. So let's get into that. What the heck does that mean? And how can I get some of that?
You mentioned my latest book. It's called the IZOD Method. IZOD stands for In the Zone on Demand, because many people think that being in the zone is just obviously for athletes. But, we all experienced it, but most often by chance, like, oh my God, I crushed my presentation, or I crushed my sales goals, or I just won this competition. And so we assume it's by chance, but no, we can actually acquire the skill to get in the zone on demand, turn it on and off, which means is we have 100% laser focused, and we can get a lot more things done in a small period of time, because everybody heard, including your listeners, that 80% of the things are done in 20% of the time, right? So what if we can apply that 20% of the time where we are focused, when we are in the zone, whenever we want to do that? And so, in my latest book, I explain the steps to actually get into the zone on demand, but also it's a lot about biohacking, not just upgrading the body and objectively reversing our biological health or our lifespan, but upgrading our mindset, because again, getting into the zone is also have to do a lot with mindset. And whether you're an entrepreneur, a doctor, a performer, an athlete, it applies to everybody who wants to go above and beyond, be the best that they can be.
So you really say a 2-minute ritual. What is it?
Well, a ritual to me is a power routine. So to me, most power routines, have the same template, but we customize it based on my client or on my mentee. So whatever my power, I got 4 power routines: a morning routine, an evening routine, biohacking routine, and a dream routine, which is about my dreams and what I want to accomplish. So, many times I give those as templates to my mentees, but we got to make sure that we customize those based on what works for them. But ultimately, what we need to do with all those biohacks and routines is really making sure that routine or your routine is something that you can count on each and every time to get you into the zone and get you or deliver you the results that you want. And so it's more of a power routine. But when it comes to being productive, being busy, because most of your listeners are busy entrepreneurs or doctors, it's also about freeing up valuable time and making sure that everything is scripted, that you're in control of your agenda, your calendar, that you're not wasting, your time on projects that really don't serve your goals and your dreams, and the list goes on. So many times it's obviously about purpose and passion, but then also really getting or regaining control of your schedule, of your calendar, and having that plan, having those incremental steps, and really, being very effective and efficient on your daily activities also, so you can get those small incremental fulfillments that contribute to your greater goal and greater dreams.
So Dr. Mike, let's talk about productivity, focus, and freeing up valuable time. So you said scripted, intentional day, Pareto principle, meaning you're 80-20ing everything, so you're not wasting time doing nonsense activities. Give me something very tangible for my listeners so they can start optimizing their day like tomorrow.
Usually I ask many questions and we go from there. But here's some questions, right? When it comes to productivity, it's like, okay, how many meetings do you have tomorrow? I got 2 meetings. How long are they scheduled for? An hour each. And then my question would be, can you really not make a decision on the topic within 15 minutes? Why does it have to be an hour, right? So now we suddenly clear up an hour and a half of time tomorrow already, because again, many times meetings are scheduled in hour increments. Let's schedule them in 15-minute increments, and then how many projects are you involved in? Let me think, 3 or 4. Okay, which of those products do not contribute to your personal goals and dreams? Maybe this one not. So why you're involved? Well, a friend doctor of me asked me to help out. Well, maybe next time you got to say no. Maybe you got to get rid of that project because it's not helping you. It's helping somebody else fulfilling their dreams and lives. And it's not that we can't be helpful, but sometimes we really got to get into that laser focus on where we as individuals or as business owners, as executives want to be. And so then it goes into more, like time management, is what is the time of day that you perform the best, and where is your workspace? Where do you do your projects? Where do you work? Because it's amazing today to find out, Doc, when you ask people where they work, many times it's on the kitchen table. It's in in front of the TV. I mean, how can you be focused if you don't have a designated work area even? And that used to be, common sense, but today people just try to concentrate, in the middle of the living room or, in cubicles where other people are constantly interrupting you, etc. So many times we got to go back to basics and assigning that specific or designated work area, closing the doors, letting other people knowing not to disturb you. And then also, of course, here's these devices that I'm holding up. We got to get control of our social media and our devices. If I want to focus and if I want to write a chapter of my book, this has got to go off. This has got to go in another room. Now, this is very helpful, obviously, this phone, because when I need Dr. Raja to ask him a question about biohacking, I can call him up, which is to my benefit. But when I'm focusing, I'm not going to let Dr. Raja interrupt me, because that would keep me off my game, right? So when I'm focusing, when I'm doing something, this needs to be off. And so there's hundreds and hundreds of little things that we can put in place to eliminate distractions and increasing that focus. And many of those are very easy, practical things. And then the next step would be, okay, now we got to work on our mindset. We got to work on upgrading our mind also. But that's another step. But you asked for a few practical things. Well, there's a few practical things we can implement tomorrow.
Sure. Let's unpack a lot of that. So to be really in the zone on demand, here's some actual tips from Dr. Mike Van Thielen. And, he was referencing essentially doing a meeting analysis, analyze all the meetings. Sometimes it's a concept called death by meetings. And many times meetings are not contributing to the bottom line or to the future of the company or your goals or projects. So having very specific meetings that have an agenda, that have an end date, and actually have a goal, and see if you can get the meetings down from 60 minutes to 15 minutes with an actual decision made at the end of the meeting. Next is killing projects, the power of saying no. Mm-hmm. If you chase, the thing is, I always have a concept that I believe, and I coach to all my clients as well. If I have this concept of, hey, anything I touch turns to gold. The problem is I can only touch one thing and I have to touch it long enough. And so if you're diffusing your creative energy, your life force energy among multiple projects, it's very impossible to be highly successful on that, on one thing. And so the concept of sequential success versus simultaneous success, I think, speaks well.
It's like multitasking is a mistake. We all know that now as high entrepreneurs. It's a mistake to multitask. So we really got to get focused on one task.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in terms of flow state, it's understanding when are you in the deep work state, as Cal Newport likes to say, or flow state, like our friend Stephen Coulter emphasizes. And then also within your home, starting to identify places so you have a neuro association with certain parts of your house as, hey, that's the intimacy area, that's the deep work area, that's my workout time, that's, and so not cross-purpose using your rooms, or if you work from home or in your office, for example. Yeah. So that was really powerful. I took away from that. And then it's really the controlling the devices and not developing digital dementia that we all have by being addicted to our devices and
Dopamine overload. Yeah.
Dopamine overload. And like you're having an evening routine, part of your evening routine should be to disconnect from devices, from blue light, from work, from heavy alcohol or meals, and putting all that away. And we all say we want more family time. We all say we want more kid time. But when it's there, we're not really present. And so what you're saying is go back to the basics there. And
yeah, back to the basics. And like yourself, family time. If we get in control of our agenda, then we can script that family time, right? We can actually, if we get back in control and script our life. People think scripting, there's no spontaneous activities, but yes, you can schedule every evening, from 8 p.m. There's no reason to take business calls after 8 p.m. because you're not going to make great decisions anyway. So like you said, shut the things down, have a power routine, and do family stuff. And the same in the weekends. There's many times if you're organized, there is no reason to cancel a trip with your kids just because somebody calls. Again, is you need to get back in control and, eliminate a lot of meetings that are not necessary or not urgent. And so we can schedule and script that family time so everybody's happy, because everybody knows that if you're a multitasker entrepreneur, there's always going to be a reason for you to, get into that quality time with your loved ones.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things I've been developing, Dr. Mike, and love to get your take on it, is I think we all need more white space time, and we also need more CEO time, where it's thinking time.
Yes, of course.
Yes. It's almost like constructive daydreaming, but it's allowing your brain to solve problems without so many inputs around you. And I think thinking is one of the most powerful things we can do, and so few people do it in the world.
Yes, and it's kind of part of my morning and evening routine, right? The evening routine, part of the evening routine is like 2-3 minutes visualization. And what I want to do, I want to visualize the next 24 hours, which only takes 2 minutes. And during the visualization, you make the right decisions. And what it does for me is if I went through the next 24 hours visually, then I don't have to lay awake or have trouble falling asleep thinking and worrying about tomorrow, because I already made the decisions and did that visualization technique. In the morning, as part of the morning routine, I do a brain dump and empty my brain, whatever's on my mind. And so some of those become actionable things that I put into my calendar, and others are just on a piece of paper and are thrown away, right? But that's where a lot of the thinking time comes into, in those power routines. In the dream routine, that's where you obviously, if you have your goals and dreams, and let's say you want to be hit 100 million in your business in 7 years from now, that's great. But then hopefully you have a plan 6 years, 5 years, next year, and incremental steps every month, every week, and tomorrow, so you can find fulfillment and be passionate getting up to get that one little step closer to that big dream. And so once you have that plan, obviously, you continuously want to have some time, like you said eloquently, is to think about, am I on track? Do I have to make a modification? Do I need another person on my team? Because I always talk about the team of experts. We never can obviously reach our highest potential by ourselves. So I always talk about a team of experts. They don't necessarily need to be experts. It could be your secretary or somebody that is basically strong where you're weak, because I don't believe we need to work on our weaknesses. We need to identify and know what our weaknesses are, but I don't think we need to work on them. We need to continue to work on our strengths and surround ourselves with the people that are strong where we are weak, the ones that we need, that we can count on to reach those goals and dreams. And so I think it's important not to only think and, like you said, in your own head and get things straight out and visualize, but also, step away from what's happening and see if that plan and those dreams and those incremental steps are still accurate, or you need to make modifications based on what has been happening and what is happening today, right? So kind of steer the boat based on from where the current is coming, so we still can get to that island that we want.
That's awesome. So just guys, just to take some of these notes down here that I had: team of experts, instead of working on your weaknesses, identify and hire someone to complement your weaknesses, and obviously doing some of that brain dumping, some analysis, some creative visualization, so you can have the course correction along the way. Guys, Dr. Mike is the real deal. This is amazing. I was taking I have a whole page of notes that I'm going to review after the call. But his knowledge base and his sincerity, he really wants to take people to that next level. And I really think about putting people in buckets, right? Are you step one, regaining control of your health or your business or your life? Are you like in the coming up phase, or are you in the stabilization phase? Are you have normal health, normal business, normal life? Or are you ready to take it and go to what I call escape velocity, go to that next level? And that's when you're trying to optimize and maximize. Whatever the thing is, mentor, coach, books, courses, conferences, you need to get some new information for you to make a new decision. So thank you again, Mike. I really appreciate it. And guys, thank you so much for supporting the show, supporting the YouTube, supporting the podcast. And we'll keep it coming. So until next time, guys, be phenomenal.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Limitless MD. If you found value from this episode, I encourage you to share this episode with a friend and let me know by leaving a review. For more information, make sure you check out the links in the show notes below or simply visit vikramraya.com. Until next time, be phenomenal.